In 2017, while stuck at home during a university strike, I made a decision that would completely change my life. But here's the thing, it wasn't just about learning to code. Because what started as a simple Andela Bootcamp application in a borrowed university computer lab ended up taking me from Nigeria to Silicon Valley and eventually to Canada as a senior developer. Let me take you back to where it all started. I was in my final year studying geology at Federal University of Technology, Minna. Like many Nigerian students at the time, I was stuck at home due to an ASU strike. But then something happened. My mom had bought me this laptop in my third year, which I used for my internship at NAPIMS and for my final year project, where I was interpreting seismic graphs for oil exploration. Little did she know, this machine would completely change my career path. In her mind though, I was spending too much time on it. I was just playing around and wasting my time. When in fact, I was teaching myself Python, Django, PHP, and this hot new thing called React. Mom wasn't having that. So sometimes she'd actually hide the laptop in her cupboard. But here's what she didn't realize. Every time she hid that laptop, I wasn't just losing time. I was getting more determined. Quick question. Have you ever had someone tell you you're wasting time on something you believed in? Drop it in the comments below. Okay, while my classmates were waiting out the strike, I was learning, experimenting, teaching myself whatever I could find online. But remember, this was before coding bootcamps were everywhere, before everyone was talking about tech careers. As a newbie, I was building a social location discovery or sports finder app at a startup called Jolly. Think of it as a Nigerian version of Yelp, but back in 2017. I was participating in hackathons, building some educational apps. I remember Skylearn at an MTN hackathon and Intelix at Technovate. I'm sure my teammates would remember this. They were small wins, but they were ours. Let me know in the comment section if you would like to see me roast these projects, and I will do it. So I thought I was doing pretty well for a self-taught developer, but I had no idea that my real journey hadn't even started yet. Here I was, fresh from an internship, where I had gotten a taste of the oil industry life, but something about tech kept pulling me in a different direction. Then came the game changer. But first, let me tell you about my second home, the University of Ilorin complex. Why there? Simple, because they had something precious, free internet. Sure, it was spotty, but when you're teaching yourself to code, chasing a dream, you take whatever you can get. That's where my friend Jalasem and I would spend hours building projects and dreaming big, trying out things. Then we saw it. Andela was recruiting developers. But this wasn't just any tech company or just another coding bootcamp. They were promising something different. They weren't just offering training, they were offering transformation, a real job with a real salary. To top it all, we get to work with companies outside Nigeria around the world. The only catch, I had to get from Ilorin to Lagos for the in-person interview. For those who don't know Nigerian geography, that's about 300 kilometers. And I remember I was a student during a strike period with no income. But before even thinking about Lagos, I had to pass their online assessment. And let me tell you, this wasn't your typical coding test. This was different. Everything I'd learned in secret, every line of code written while that laptop was supposed to be hidden, it all came down to this. The internet, well, still spotty. The pressure, definitely intense. But here's what most people don't realize about these moments. It's not about the code. It's about how you handle pressure when everything isn't perfect. After submitting the test, I faced the longest wait of my life. But while others might have just waited, I did something different. I kept coding, kept building. Because deep down, I had this feeling I knew this wasn't just about passing a test. This was about being ready for what comes next. Something bigger than just a job. Then the email came. I passed, but the real challenge was just beginning. This is where my aunt became my guardian angel. Anyone who knows Lagos knows the transportation nightmare. But my aunt, she didn't just host me. She gave me her car some days and her driver until I learned to navigate the city myself. So walking into Andela's Epic Tower that first day, I thought I was prepared. After all, I had been coding for months I've built projects, even had a startup job, but I had no idea what was coming. First day, first hour, I immediately realized I knew nothing, just no. They started poking holes in everything I thought I knew. Testing, barely did that. Documentation, maybe when I remembered. But code reviews, what were those? But here's the thing about the bootcamp that nobody tells you. The hardest part wasn't the technical challenges. It was realizing that being a great developer isn't just about writing code that works. Every day was like drinking from a fire hose. Morning stand-ups, peer programming, technical assessments, and the constant feedback. It was intense. We weren't just learning to code better. We were learning to think differently, to communicate better, to see problems from multiple angles, to become a world-class professional. Then came the moment that changed everything. We were working on a group project and I was struggling with a particular complex feature. I had been up all night trying to fix this bug, but my approach wasn't working and the deadline was approaching. Then my technical mentor said something I'll never forget. He said, "Stop trying to solve the problem, start trying to understand it." It wasn't just about the code anymore. It was about the approach, the process, the thinking. Over those intense weeks, I wasn't just becoming a better developer. I was becoming a different kind of developer. The guy who walked into Epic Tower thinking he knew something about coding, he was gone. In his place was someone who understood that real software engineering is about communication, collaboration, critical thinking, and most importantly, knowing that you never stop learning. You own your own learning. That was a slogan at the time. But getting through the bootcamp, that was just the beginning. Becoming an Andela fellow was another. It wasn't just about getting another job. It was joining a movement to transform African tech talents. While my geology castmates were probably sending out CVs to oil companies, preparing for the job market, I was about to start something completely different. The fellowship started with 6 months of intensive training. But here's the plot twist. They paid us to learn and even give us a MacBook. This wasn't just life-changing for me. Remember that laptop my mom kept hiding? At the tail end of the bootcamp, it started to give way. Maybe due to the stress it was going through. I was getting stressed, but all of a sudden, I resumed and here I am with a MacBook and a monthly pay. Now I could focus on my work and help my siblings with bills while becoming better at what I loved doing. Mind blown. Then came the moment that truly opened my eyes to what was possible. It was DirtyLemon, a startup in the US that I was assigned to work with. Suddenly, I wasn't just a developer from Nigeria. I was part of a global team building products used by thousands of people. But the real pinch me moment, when Andela said, "Pack your bags, you're going to the United States." Imagine this, from hiding a laptop from my mom, to flying across the world to meet my team, to meeting Greg, the CTO, in person, surreal doesn't even begin to describe it. Standing there in Silicon Valley, I realized something profound. The journey from that free Wi-Fi spot in Unilorin to here wasn't just about learning to code. It was about daring to dream bigger than your circumstances, about having the courage to step into opportunities even when they seem impossible. After 3 years at Andela, building systems used by thousands, working with teams across continents, I started to see new possibilities. Canada wasn't even on my radar when all of this started, but that's the thing about tech. It opens doors you didn't even know existed. The skills I got from Andela weren't just technical, it was global team collaboration, cross-cultural communication, complex problem solving. So when I applied for my current position in Canada, I wasn't just another developer. I was a battle-tested engineer with experience building products used by thousands. Here's the irony, guys. That geology degree I thought I'd never use, it actually helped me with my immigration process. From bootcamp participant to Andela fellow, and now to a Canadian permanent resident. Each step seemed impossible until it wasn't. Looking back at that student using free Wi-Fi in Unilorin, I wish I could tell him something. That laptop your mom keeps hiding is going to take you further than any geology textbook ever could. Here's what I've learned on this journey. Your circumstances don't define your potential. I started with borrowed Wi-Fi and a hidden laptop. Secondly, every skill you learn compounds. So even my geology certificate played a role in my immigration. And the biggest opportunities, they often look like the biggest risk that could alter the trajectory of your entire life. So if you're out there, whether using borrowed Wi-Fi, maybe learning in secret, wondering if it's worth it, remember this. About 8 years ago, I was a geology student in Nigeria. I was hiding my laptop from my mom, even though she later understood and freed me. Today, I'm a senior developer in Canada, building softwares used by thousands around the world. And the best part, this is just the beginning. If this story resonated with you, don't forget to like this video, hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. I'll be sharing more about my tech journey, including a deep dive into those early projects we were talking about. And hey, let me know in the comments what your hidden laptop story is, and I'll see you when I see you.